Spoilers ahead. Watch out, and take care. The movie begins with a couple of men traveling to a remote location, deep in a forest. They park their cars at a distance from a cabin, and their leader cautiously gets out of the car. He is carrying a rifle in his hand, and walks up to an unsuspecting man. He shoots the guy, and he falls into the water, dead. The hitman then signals to his gang, and they start approaching the cabin. Inside, a few FBI agents are staying to protect a mob witness. They are attacked by the hitman, and all of them are brutally shot to death. The last person to be killed is the informant, as the leader tells him to witness this, before shooting him in the head. Later, the police arrive, and an elderly FBI agent, Harry Shannon, cries over the body of his son, Blair Shannon, who was one of the men protecting the witness. He swears revenge on the mob who took his son's life. The scene then shifts to Mark Kaminsky. He is chasing down a man who was posing as a motorcycle cop. He succeeds, and after dropping the man off at the station, drives home to his wife. His wife is having a drink, and it is clearly not her first drink of the day. She is frosting a cake, and he asks her what it is for. She answers it is for the commemoration of their 5th year in exile. They get into an argument, where she complains about the life they've been reduced to live. Amy hates living in this small town, where nothing ever happens, and all people talk about is crops and things. Mark defends himself by saying that he did the best that he could, but she says the hell you did. Mark says that they gave him a choice, he could either resign or go to trial. The trial was a lost cause, and then he would have been fired, and not been able to even get this job as a sheriff. He then complains about having cake for dinner, and Amy replies that they have become like the cows people raised here, and the greatest contribution cows have to the world is shit. She then throws the cake at him, and Mark tells her that she shouldn't drink and bake. That night, Mark carries a sleeping Amy to bed, and while he's having a drink alone, he gets a call. It is Harry Shannon. He asks to talk to him, and tells him to meet him if he wants to see better days again. Mark and Harry meet up, and Harry plays him some clips of a trial. In the trial, Luigi Patravita is being questioned about how he maintains his extravagant lifetime on meager pay. The investigation is being led by the district attorney, Marvin Baxter. Mark recognizes Baxter and gets annoyed. We find out that Baxter was the one who gave Mark the choice between resigning or being prosecuted. Harry says that Mark did bring a suspect, with all the bones in his body broken. Mark defends himself by saying that the man deserved it, he had murdered, molested and raped an 11-year-old girl. Harry shakes his head at the tragedy, and says that back then, the public wasn't a fan of such heavy-handed cops. He assures Mark that Baxter is giving Patravita a lot of hell. Patravita and his right-hand man Paolo Rocca have been evading the law for far too long. There was a witness whose testimony would have put Patravita behind bars, but due to a leak in the bureau, the witness was exposed and killed. Along with Harry's son. Harry offers Mark a deal, saying that if he infiltrates Patravita's organization, and dismantles it from within, bringing it down, he has a good shot of being reinstated. Harry also says that due to the leak, he is the only one who will know about this mission, as the bureau has been trying to get a mole into the mob, but they keep getting killed due to the leak. Mark agrees, and fakes his own death in a chemical plant explosion. We don't know if he tells his wife or leaves her to grieve for him, and from what we saw of her earlier, do we care? Mark is given money by Harry for expenses. He takes on the identity of a convicted felon named Joseph Brenner, and Harry's plan is that he harasses a rival mob boss, who is giving Patravita a lot of pain. Mark travels to Chicago as Joseph Brenner, and goes to a joint owned by Martin Lemansky, the rival mob boss. He exposes that the table is rigged, and causes anarchy in the place. He beats up the men who come at him, and then walks out. For good measure, he also grabs a fire truck, and runs it into the restaurant and the casino inside. After that, to further get into Lemansky's skin, Mark tracks down his girlfriend, and robs her of her jewels and the car of her chauffeur. After all this, he goes to a fancy hotel, and gains access to an elite casino. There he manages to meet up with Rocca, after convincing the bouncers that he's the pain in Lemansky's ass. Rocca is low-key impressed by Mark's determination, but Max Keller, his guy for taking care of everything, is suspicious of him. Mainly because Mark says that he wants Keller's job. Rocca tells him to go see the cashier for $1,000 chips and enjoy himself. Mark walks out, before telling Rocca that he'll check back with him. Down at the casino, Mark meets a beautiful woman Monique, and they exchange some witty banter. As Mark leaves, we see a detective sitting in a car noticing him. 3 of Rocca's men follow Mark into an alley and attack him, but Mark manages them easily. Detective Baker comes to check on him, and Mark gives him the name Joseph. The next day, we see Detective Baker and his team busting one of Petrovita's hideouts, and confiscating about $100 million in cash and heroin. Petrovita is enraged, and asks Rocca if he's found a replacement for one of their guys that was killed in a shootout by Leminski. Rocca then asks to meet Mark, and recruits him against Keller's wishes. As Mark walks out, he again runs into Monique, and they both end up going to his place and getting drunk. As they stumble to the bedroom, Mark passes out, and Monique calls Keller with his fake identity info. But Mark is actually awake and hears everything. We see Mark joining Keller on a mission, and smoothly saving a man's life when Keller is about to kill him. Then at a party, Rocca tells Mark that Petrovita would like to meet him. Petrovita asks Mark if he's killed before, and Mark says yes. Then he asks if he's killed more than one man. Mark replies that he's killed 3, and if he would like their names and addresses too. This annoys the guy, and he tells Mark that he likes smart, but not smartass. He tells Mark to leave and then turns to Rocca. He tells Rocca to give him a chance to impress them first. This chance comes when Mark comes up with a plan to retrieve the $100 million that was confiscated. He suggests they pose a bomb threat, so that the cops will evacuate the building where the money is being kept. To make the scheme believable, they plant a smaller bomb at a police station, so that the cops get nervous. Meanwhile, we see Keller egging Monique on, but she insists that she hasn't found anything on Joseph. It seems clear that she has started caring for him. While at dinner, when she tries to move their relationship to the next level, Mark reveals that he has a wife. This prompts Monique to take off the dress he bought her earlier, and fling it at him before stalking out. The day of the heist arrives, and Petrovita's men pose as the SWAT bomb disposal team that enters the evacuated building to break into the locker and get the money. Meanwhile, Mark and Keller are on a separate mission to assassinate Leminski, which proves successful. Keller is like a dog with a bone with his suspicion about Joseph, and pays an informant who knows the real Joseph Brenner. After finding out about his deception, we find out that the leak Harry had told Mark about is actually Marvin Baxter. Petrovita wants someone killed, and Keller proposes it to be Brenner. Mark accompanies Keller to kill a target in a cemetery, which turns out to be Harry Shannon. To save his friend's life, Mark has to blow his cover, and kills Keller in the process. Harry also shoots at the third guy, but gets hit himself. After making sure that Harry is as okay as he can be, Mark escapes with the help of Monique, who was following Keller and Mark in Mark's car. He drops Monique at her place, and tells her to go to the airport, and he'll meet her there. After that, Mark goes to his room, and gets an arsenal of weapons ready. He drives to one of Petrovita's gravel pits, killing everyone there, and stealing a large amount of drug money. This attack is on the news, which Petrovita and Rocca are watching. Baxter is also there, getting really nervous. As an elevator arrives, Petrovita's men unload a shower of bullets at it, but it opens to be empty. Mark, who is hiding on the top, begins his attack, and manages to gun down all of Petrovita's security and goons, including the people who were responsible for killing Blair Shannon. Rocca and Petrovita run to hide in a back room, but Mark kills Rocca in a barrage of gunfire, and shoots a running Petrovita in the back. As he walks out, he runs into Baxter, who tries to get out of the situation by claiming that things aren't as they seem. He then recalls that what he did to Mark 5 years ago was a big mistake. Mark says that because of Baxter, a lot of people got killed, and tells him that this is what they call poetic justice. After handing him a gun, tells him the same thing Baxter had spoken to him 5 years ago: resign or be prosecuted. Mark begins to walk away, when Baxter attempts to shoot him. But Mark is much quicker, and turns around to shoot the man first. After he leaves, the police arrive on the scene, led by Detective Baker. His partner asks him who he thinks did this, and he responds that he has a good idea. We go back to Mark, who drives to the airport in one of Petrovita's cars that Baker is tracking. He hands Monique a bag containing $250,000, and tells her to leave. She gives him a hug and then departs. Baker catches up to Mark, and says that he always suspected he was one of them. In the last scene, we see Harry in a wheelchair. He refuses to do physical therapy after getting crippled from the attack earlier. Mark walks in, and asks him the same thing Harry had asked him when he called him at the start of the movie. He says he wants to see better days again. Then, Mark walks behind an unsuspecting Harry, and makes him stand up. He reveals that his reunion with Amy has resulted in them being pregnant, while Harry yells in anger. Mark says that he needs Harry's help, as he knows nothing about being a father. He says that he wants Harry to be his baby's godfather, and that he needs to walk for that. When Harry can't, Mark asks him if he would have given up on trying to walk if Blair was here. This motivates Harry, and with a huge effort, he takes a few steps. He stumbles on his last step, but Mark supports him, and they laugh. The end. Thank you for watching. Subscribe if you'd like to see more videos like this. Turn on the notifications, and leave a like to help the channel out.